Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. I am here now with the Solus GT. I am running a fully maxed one, and I'm going to go ahead and tackle this Showdown. I'm not going to show you guys the first few hundred trophies. Obviously, that's against bots, but I wanted to point out something about when you enter this event. As you can see, if you look at the leaderboard, it'll give you an idea how hard it will be to get through this event at any given day. When the top 20s is only at the 1400 range, that means you'll have to be in the top 100 or so to be in 1300 and up, or maybe top 200. But that means out of 100 opponents in all of the player base of CSR2, you have to get there to get to 1300 in the first day. That's going to be a tough thing to do. And having the fully maxed version of the fastest car in Showdown and being able to drive it would be the only way you can get there. So let's see how many races it'll take me to get it done. But I'm going to start showing you guys again as I get closer to 1,000 trophies, and then we'll run from 1,000 to 1,300. So here we go. Alright, we're back. We're at 905 trophy, but I'm starting to see actual players, so I decided to activate the recording again. So from 900 to 1300, if you don't lose any races, it's actually pretty fast. It is not surprising that the Pista Spider is used a lot because it's a common car in Showdown. A lot of people have it built, and therefore you can expect quite a few people to use that. Not only that, behind the Lamborghini Aventador Ultimate, the Pista is the next fastest. So certainly it makes sense for people to start using that to make it towards the front. However, at about 7 point some seconds versus the top 3 cars all running 6s, obviously the 3,000 or so player rankings in the 900 range won't be moving to 1300 that quickly until players like myself with the faster cars move past them. The Batista is again a 6-second car. You can definitely cut it pretty close to my car if I screw up, but if I don't screw up, I should have no problem taking down the maxed Batista near the end of the track because my car is substantially faster. So that's the key with Showdown. As always, I keep saying this. Showdown was designed in a way to put a hierarchy of the winners to the losers, right? The hierarchy is if you don't have the Apex car, you can expect when you run into an Apex car, unless that driver screws up badly or he's just done with getting the car and decide to give you a race, you're going to lose. And that trickles down the line. So it's a game of haves and have-nots. And unfortunately, Natural Motion designed it this way so the have-nots have to suffer a longer trek to get to the same prize that the haves can get to within seconds. Not seconds, but within minutes of playing, because if you don't lose, you move up the rankings very quickly. 30, 40 trophies, sometimes 50 trophies a shot. That means 100 trophy only takes about 3-4 races. In 12 races, in 15 races I made it to 1,000. That means in about another 10 races, at most 21, 22 races, I should be able to get to 1,300, assuming I take no losses. Now, to be one of the ones to have, you got to spend, right? So this is where people kind of complain things are kind of pay to win. For Showdown, I would not say yes to every Showdown because some Showdowns do not require you to have paid cars. For example, when the Pista Spider it's a Elite Tuner car, but when that's the Apex car, a lot of us over time can build that for free. But for events like this, certainly the pay-to-win aspect does come into play a little bit, because if you're willing to pay and get a Solus GT fully maxed, you're going to win. And that's just the reality of how this plays out when it comes to this game's Showdowns. And it's part of the reason I am not particularly keen on Showdown. I don't love it. I play it mostly when there's a prize car, or if one of my pre-built free cars ended up doing well. Now here's an actual race where if he runs the 6.55, I am going to lose, and my nitrous not activating quickly also hurts me, but I have a feeling he had the same issue, because there's a sticky nitrous thing with Android devices, and it's easy to sometimes not get the exact nitrous activation that you would hope it would do. I think it's easier on iOS to get instant nitrous activation, but on Android everything has a slight delay. So for me to get the best time, I have to first watch the needle move when I launch. Even though it's a needle drop, I cannot hit nitrous instantly. I have to watch it move, hit nitrous, that make sure it activates like this. So really you're activating a little bit later. The other thing is deep good, you have to be careful. You actually have to click around 10,000 RPM because there's a slight lag between when I touch my screen or click my mouse key to when the device, and in this case a simulated device, picks up that action. So you know, on iOS it's instant. You hit when you see the line near the red, you hit, your phone would instantly react to that. I've always noticed over the years Android has a bit of a delay, so you're not going to get that same effect on Android. So everything has to be slightly anticipated and slightly delayed in some cases to make it work just right. So here, as you can see, I keep clicking right around 10,000 RPM, so the needle drops a little below that, and then that's deep good. And that generally gives me a decent run. But the launch point, because I'm using what they call instant launch, that's where you time the launch button without dropping the needle and let the computer drop the needle automatically. If your timing's slightly off, your run's going to be slightly off. All these combined is what makes running this particular car on Android a little more tricky. But it doesn't mean that I cannot get a good run. It just means that, you know, my chance of getting super good runs, such as running it just like a world record run, is going to be slim. And a world record is a world record because it is a very hard thing to do. So I can get good runs, but I'm not likely to get super good runs. And again, we're looking at getting to about 1200 range. Okay, I'm sure that player was upset that he ran into me. He's probably trying to push past 1200. But when you're up here, now if you look at the rankings, right, as I was saying in the beginning, at 1200 you only have about 600 some players ahead of you, and you got 100 to 200 players that have already passed 1300. So you really only probably have 100 to 200 players period between 1200 to 1300, and then how many of them are actually playing. So your pool of selection of actual matchmaking opponents is pretty slim. As you can see, that's exactly what's happening here. It's delayed, and then here we go. It has to be a Solus GT because those are the only players likely to be up in this range. So okay, so we're going to run it as best as I can. And I was able to take that win. That moves me up another spot. Now, there's a chance that even though I moved up and that guy might have lost some points, I may still end up challenging and then meeting him again. Because you have such a small pool of players within this range of 1200 to 1300. Now, if trying to get to 1300, either you're not going to find a player, which is an possibility, or you might find the same player, but anybody you find is likely to be running the same car you are. This is always the case on day one, and it's not really surprising. That's just how it is. Whoop! Thank God it was on the last gear that I screwed that up. But at that point, it didn't seem to hurt the runtime that much. Okay, so I'm one race away to getting to 1300 and my goal. At which point I'm going to stop because I am not really interested in going too far higher. I'm not here to chase rankings. I just want to get this done and get the car so I can start building the Noble. Okay, now obviously, good. I think he had the same issue. Obviously, you still have to get a good run in. You have to beat your opponent in order to get your 1300. I was able to do that here, even though my run wasn't optimal, but I was able to get it done. 1300 complete, prize sent to player box. But hold on, let's see if Alright, so it says I reached 1320, 23 total races to get there, no losses. Now, I'm going to sit here for a second to let the computer kind of make sure that it catches up. See how it says 1281 still here? That concerns me, because if the sync of my points didn't read 1320 like it showed me, and in fact has me at 1281, when I go back to Garage, it's not going to recognize that I've hit 1300 and doesn't give me the car. This is that lag issue with point calculation that I run into a lot with Showdown, and other people as well. I hear about this complaint quite often. So when you go to the price, first you're going to have to collect all these, right? So collect all of those. No car. Let's go back. Actually, it might have frozen again. Okay. Oh, but there's one more word. There's the car. All right. So the car is here. So despite it showing 1280 on the leaderboard, 1320 was reached, and I have now acquired the new Noble. Looks a little bit like a McLaren in the front. See, well, yeah, it looks pretty much like a McLaren, period. Anyway, not a bad look. I mean, McLarens are nice looking cars, so I'm not complaining. So here's the Noble 5-star car. I'm going to go ahead and build this, but that was my 1300 run using a fully maxed Solus GT, and as I anticipated, that is one of the only ways you can start on day one, early on day one, and get to 1300 right away. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Again, if you don't have a fast car, look at the leaderboard to see what kind of rankings are starting to get there. As the pool of players move, the slower players will slowly move up in the rankings. Unfortunately, it is a very frustrating process of winning 3, losing 2, winning 3, losing 4. So you keep bouncing, and your goal is always to try to slowly move up a little bit in the overall trophy count. And if you cannot, take a break. Come back in the next day, and eventually you will see you're starting to face opponents that are more along your line of what your car runs. So good luck in this Showdown event. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you like my channel and like these kind of videos, subscribe, hit the bell, and you get notifications when I put up new videos. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.